You're sliding. Don't worry, you are so not alone. This is one of the biggest challenges you will face as a pole dancer, but have no fear. There are some key things that you should know that will help you hold yourself up so much better when you are pole dancing. And that means more time having fun pole dancing. Sometimes it is just a matter of strengthening your muscles over time by doing basic beginner spins or conditioning on or off the pole. I personally do prefer conditioning on the pole, although I don't really do it that much because it will use the exact muscles you need for pole dancing. And this can be harder to do off the pole with conditioning exercises that do not use a pole. That's why you will find you will get stronger naturally just from doing pole dancing itself and not really doing any additional conditioning exercises. But what if you don't have a pole at home? And let's face it, most of us don't. Again, there's a solution for everything, and there are conditioning exercises you can definitely do off the pole that can supplement your pole training and help you hold your body weight on the pole, which I'll be showing you a bit later in the video. And sometimes it is just a matter of skin condition, such as your hands being sweaty or your leg skin being too dry. These things can be easily fixed, which I will get into shortly. Lastly, sometimes it is just about knowing the right little techniques that will help you hold yourself up 1,000 times better. It can be the difference between sliding off the pole and holding yourself up feeling super duper light. Setting yourself up for success. Your skin condition. As mentioned before, skin condition actually plays a massive role in whether you're able to grip to the pole. It will be the difference between whether you sink or swim. For most of us, we tend to be too sweaty on the hands and too dry on the legs. So how do we fix this? You may have realized that you stick way better during those hot summer months compared to those cold, dry, chilly winter months. Why is this, you may ask? Well, you do need some tackiness on your skin in order to be able to grip to the pole. And this tends to happen when you get a little bit sweaty very easily when it is hot. Compare me trying to grip to the pole without having warmed up and having absolutely no sweat on my legs to when I've actually warmed up and I have a nice sheen of sweat on my legs helping me grip almost 100 times better. It seriously is like magic. And when I discovered this in pole dancing, when I first started, I was absolutely mind blown. So what I like to do when I warm up is wear sweatpants. And this little trick helps me get that sweat on my legs very quickly. Or I like to go for a run wearing leggings, which also tends to do the trick. The more cold it is, the more layers I wear. And this helps me get sweaty faster. If you can't be bothered to do these warm-up tricks, you can just wear shaving foam or shaving gel or actual grip for your legs you can purchase at pole dance product websites. I'll find some options and I'll leave them in the description box below. Here you can see I am using shaving gel, which does help you grip to the pole better than shaving foam in my opinion, just because a little bit goes a long way and it tends to be more tacky than shaving foam. So maybe during the hotter months when you might be already sweaty but just need a little bit more grip, I would recommend using the shaving foam. When it's winter and you're really cold and your skin's dry, then I recommend using the shaving gel. So now we are going to talk about technique, and I mentioned before that technique has a big role in how well you are able to grip to the pole, and it's a common misconception that it only has to do with your skin condition or how tightly you're gripping or holding onto the pole with your hands, and that is what people think will keep them up the best. However, it's a little known fact that it's all in the engagement of the shoulder. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying technique has a big role in how well you hold yourself up on the pole. And this can make the biggest difference to how light you're feeling, especially for a lot of those beginner moves like front hook and back hook. You name it, beginner moves rely a lot on the arms holding you up. So shoulder engagement is so important so you don't slide down. You need to remember to engage your shoulder. It's not enough to just hold tightly with your hands or to have dry hands. So what does it look like to engage your shoulder? Well, you'll see here that my shoulder is all the way up near my ear, and it looks like I'm kind of sinking down like this. But if I'm engaging my shoulder, it will be right down as far away from the ear as possible and as in line with your other shoulder as you can make it. So you really want to pull your shoulder down into its socket, and to do that you're engaging your shoulder muscles. So you can see here that when I engage my shoulder muscles, it kind of all tightens and pulls down my shoulder. But if I'm not engaging it at all, it just is very loose. You can see here I'm engaging and then disengaging, engaging, disengaging. You want it to be engaged. So most beginner moves require you to pull down with your shoulder, and that will give you this nice light feeling as you're spinning around the pole, holding your whole body weight up. So I'll demonstrate to you guys what a big difference shoulder engagement makes with how light you feel on the pole. And it just might blow your mind a little bit if you haven't seen this before. So watch what happens when I'm not engaging my shoulder at all. So you can see it's high up, almost near my ear. I'm gonna do a front hook. So I don't know if you can notice, but I'm sliding down and I feel very, very heavy. And also my hand hurt a lot too because there was nothing else holding my body weight up. It was just my hand grip. And my poor hands got very sore. So now see what happens when I'm engaging my shoulder. So you can see it comes all the way down. And when I lift off into the move, I'm keeping my shoulder down. Okay, so just then, I definitely felt lighter, and I also didn't slide at all, I think. So yeah, it makes a huge difference to engage that shoulder. So to keep yourself up on the pole, it is about technique just as much as it's about your skin condition. Also, when I'm talking about technique, it doesn't always have to just do with engaging the shoulder. Technique also has to do with gripping well with your various grip points or where the pole is contacting your skin. And this can really reduce the amount of weight you're putting on your arms. So for example, with moves like front hook, you can really grip the pole tightly behind your leg so less weight is in your arms. And this will in turn help keep you up a lot better than if you were just using your arms. So for example, here I'm not going to grip very tightly with my bottom leg and I'm just going to engage my shoulder. Okay, now this time I'm going to use my leg to take a lot of the weight off my arm. So that time my leg was gripping very tightly and it was sharing the weight with my arm. It didn't feel nearly as heavy on my arm. Technique also has to do with the force you're applying. So for example, with the move carousel, you're not just pulling the pole down with your arm, but you're also pushing away with the bottom arm. And this will make you feel a lot lighter as well and prevent you from sliding. So for example, I'll do the carousel and I'll pull down with my top arm and I'll push away with my bottom and show you what it looks like. And now I'm going to pull down with my top arm and not push away with my bottom. So all of the weight will be on my top arm. So you probably saw and heard me sliding just then. So proper technique can make you feel 100 times lighter holding yourself up on the pole. So yeah, as you can see, technique has a big role to play when it comes to holding yourself up and preventing yourself from sliding. Of course, sliding always happens every time you do pole dancing, and it is inevitable and you can't avoid it completely, but there's definitely ways you can prevent it as much as you can through technique. So to summarize, you want to A, engage your shoulder, B, use your various contact points, especially with your legs. They're much bigger muscles and they won't get as tired as your arms will. And C, use the different forces with your arms to keep yourself up. And typically that is pulling the pole down with your top arm and pushing away with your bottom. So now I'm going to show you some of my favorite exercises for strengthening your shoulders, especially that you can do off the pole and on the pole. I like to do basic beginner spins to condition my muscles. It doesn't matter how advanced you are, going back to the basic beginner moves is always going to be helpful. Not only will it help build up your strength, but it also helps to practice proper engagement of your muscles and gets your skin desensitized to the pole, which is especially helpful to do not just if you are a beginner, but also if you have taken a break from pole and need to revisit basics. Here I'm doing a basic beginner move called front hook. All I'm doing is focusing on pulling the pole down with my top arm and pushing away with my bottom arm. I'm really focusing on engaging my shoulders with these moves to make sure I am using correct technique to build my muscles. If you don't engage your shoulders when you're doing conditioning exercises, you might not be building muscles and you may just be putting a lot of strain on them. Remember to engage your shoulders at all times while doing these conditioning exercises, just like we talked about in the technique section of this video. And don't forget to give some love to the other side of your body, no matter how terrible it looks and feels. You'll thank yourself later. Here I'm doing tiny little jumps by pulling down with my top arm and pushing away with my bottom arm. You can't see, but my feet are coming off the floor a teeny tiny bit. I am working a different set of muscles here with these pencil spins. Start with pulling up and resting your tummy on the pole. To make it harder, keep your tummy and elbows away from the pole. You'll need to tense your glutes and sides of your tummy or your lats even more. Now I'm using a split grip to practice pulling up with my top arm and pushing away with my bottom arm. Again, I am doing tiny jumps off the floor. See if you can hold your legs up like this for a couple of seconds, really focusing on the push-pull action of your arms to keep you suspended. Now we have some conditioning exercises for off the pole. Perfect for all of you guys who don't have a pole at home, or just prefer to give your skin and hands a break from the pole. I'm focused on lifting my shoulders up and down. To do this, think about bringing your shoulder blades together and apart. Notice I am trying to keep my back straight, so I'm only working my shoulders. Sometimes we arch and cave our back to generate the movement, which won't be working our shoulders. Now I'm drawing circles with my shoulders. Again, keep your back straight and only move your shoulders. Reverse the direction you are making circles. Now do the same with your feet on the floor for added challenge. It helps to think of rocking your body back and forth if you find it hard to make circles with your shoulders. You know you've worked the shoulders well when you feel the need to shake it all out, just like I am here. Here's some simple arm raises. Lying on the floor means you are working against gravity to lift your arms up, which will work your muscles even more. I'm keeping my forehead to the ground, so I am only lifting my shoulders rather than my head, which will work the back instead. Do these raises in different directions to work different parts of the shoulder muscles. Adding some weight, like a book, will work your muscles even more, which means you'll get even stronger. I'm keeping my back as straight as possible to make sure I'm only moving my shoulders mostly. Focus on bringing your shoulders as far up to your ears as possible, as you raise them. This exercise involves the same movement as our back raises, except we are sitting rather than lying on the floor. This might be easier to do if you want a more gentle shoulder conditioning exercise. Again, I am keeping my back straight to work the shoulders only. For these arm circles, I am focusing on rotating my shoulders to make the biggest circles that I can. These leg kicks are to put weight on my shoulders. My back is a little bit horizontal to start with here. To increase the challenge, I've moved my arms back so they are beside my ears to get more weight into my shoulders. With these mountain climbers, I am keeping my bottom down so my back is as horizontal as I can make it. The same goes for these plank jumps. With these shoulder taps, I am keeping my shoulders as in line as possible rather than swaying side to side. So in a nutshell, don't feel bad for sliding. This doesn't make you a bad pole dancer at all. In fact, it's universal and every pole dancer goes through this, and they will go through it throughout their whole pole dance journey. Once you get used to sliding off the pole, you will realize it's just a part of pole dancing and there is no way to fully avoid it. But as discussed in this video, there are very good, simple ways to prevent it. Anyways guys, I hope these tips really help you with your pole dancing, and I hope you have a happy pole dancing life. But you're also pushing up.